I will leave you in the audience with this question. Who are you if you were to have no past and no future? Who are you today, right here, right now?
Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond the Shift. I'm Eric. Guys, today I have a special guest. This person, it takes phone call. I was so shocked when that text message comes in, that phone call. Well, I'm not gonna say too much. I'll get her to introduce herself. Sit back, relax. Let's hold. Hello.
Hey, Eric. So good to be here. Thank you.
Thanks to you. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for accepting the invitation. So yeah, let's kick. Who is you? Who is Myra?
So my name is Myra Fordham. So Nunagal is my Aboriginal skin name. And that's what they call me back when I go back to my country in Northern Territory. It's a place called Wave Hill, but the Aboriginal name is called Kalkarinji. So this was a famous place in Australian history because this is where they had the Wave Hill walk-off, and the stockmen, which the Aboriginal stockmen fought for working rights. So they actually stopped working and said, well, we're not working for free anymore. So that's where I'm from. I'm based in Darwin, Northern Territory at the moment. And so what I do for work is I am a business leadership consultant, and other things that I focus on is leadership, mindset, public speaking. So I do keynote speaking. I'm an author, and what I do in my free time is some hobbies I enjoy is playing, pool table. I love to game, so I'm an online gamer as well. I love to always put myself in a position where I'm growing mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So that is a little bit about myself, but I'm sure you'll get to know a bit more about me as we continue this journey together.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, let me ask you this here. When did your journey started, like the whole shift? When did it started for you?
Good question. So the shift started for myself when I was 26, actually, when my father passed away due to colon cancer, which was February 2016. That year, I was in a relationship that was not suitable for myself. Both of us were just not compatible. It was toxic, it was unhealthy, and we were both really insecure about ourselves. So then we projected it to each other, and you can imagine how that ends up. We would fight and argue all the time. And it wasn't until I decided, okay, well, this is not right for me. There's so many red flags here. The first red flag for me was him saying to me that I'm his girlfriend when I wasn't. And so fast forwarding into the journey of that relationship, I made a decision in my mind. I was like, okay, I'm going to plan to leave, and I'm building up all the courage and the resilience, and I guess getting out of that fear to be fearless. And so I was priming myself to get out of this toxic relationship. And before anything could happen, I just woke up in hospital one day. And so I was very unsure. I was thinking, where am I? I was scared. I didn't know I was in hospital. I just woke up one day. And what I didn't know was that I was actually physically assaulted by my ex. He punched me right in the head from behind, and he grabbed my head and just forced his fist into my head. You can imagine the impact of that. And so when I fell back, my head hit the bench, the table, like in the kitchen, and then I fell straight back. And so when I just fell back with no braking or like holding where I was sitting, just straight back. And you can imagine how strong the impact would be, right? So yeah. My brain, this is what my brain did when I hit the ground. So it had a 2 millimeter midshift. So it went like this. And what happened was I then had bruising in my brain, And so my skull was filling up with blood. Okay, this is the graphical version. I believe this will serve a lot of our audience members. Brain was filling up with blood and I was going in and out of consciousness. And then luckily my sister and my sister-in-law were at home and they witnessed the whole thing and they called the police and the ambulance and everything. And so they took me to the hospital and then I was admitted straight into the emergency ward. And what happened was they then operated and gave me brain surgery. So I'll show you my scar here. So you can see the scar here and I had to shave my head. So I had a bald patch and you can imagine how, I guess, insecure I felt about it because I'm like, I'm a woman and I have a bald patch. Like I look really silly with the bald patch, you know? So there was that. And I was in an induced coma for 11 days. And when I woke up was when I was scared, which I shared with you before. And I had to learn how to walk and talk again. So what that looks like is being pushed in a wheelchair everywhere, losing that independence, feeling like a baby. I had to have someone supervise me when I go to the bathroom and have a shower. So you can imagine how I felt, so just not capable of nothing. And I didn't see that as a good thing. Obviously, I was so scared. I had medically diagnosed with PTSD. I had high anxiety. I was still grieving my father's death. So back then I thought, and I had this mindset of being a victim, as in, why me? Why did God, why did the universe or my ancestors choose me to have this traumatic brain injury? So I was like, why me? And then what shifted for me is that luckily I had some knowledge of mindset, inner work. So I had the willingness to attempt and have a try at everything before I quit. So I had a bit of a positive mindset at the time. So that's the one thing that propelled me forward. So that was the one shift I had, was that. And after reflecting back on that time in my life, I now know that it's a gift from God to change the trajectory of my life for the better. And I'm so grateful that my ex did this and behaved in such a manner, because let's be honest, I wouldn't be here talking to you today, Eric. I still would have been my old self. I still would have been playing out the same patterns. I still would have been toxic. I still would have been insecure about how I looked and I felt about myself. So that's probably the first gift and the first shift I had, was just having that realization and actualization, like I'm actually quite lucky to experience this. And many years later, I'm in a very good place.
Wow, what a journey. I just want to ask you, because I know like you didn't remember like what you just said. You just woke up from the hospital. You see yourself there. Through the healing process, what are the tools like? Were people there to support you? Like, how were you doing this? Like, what kind of things did you do?
The healing process, it is not obviously an overnight thing. I guess if it was an overnight thing, I wouldn't have become to how I am today, appreciative, thankful and grateful for the learnings and all the experiences. So the first thing I did was, and a lot of people struggle with this, Eric, is taking rest from electronics, rest from just thinking about your whole day, just rest, have a nap, or just close your eyes and just switch off. So the rest was the number one tool that I used to recover faster. The second tool I used was the handouts that the hospital gave to me. And usually when you see handouts when you go in public, you don't really utilize those handouts because you think they're just boring, or they're just boring information. And it's not until you have an interest in wanting to do something, that's when you'll take handouts or you'll read or research about a certain thing, right? So for me, it put me in a great position to want to learn about this new way of living with a traumatic brain injury, okay? So I then read as much as I could, and I'll tell you this and be honest with you. And these are some of the other tools I had was the therapies. So I had to, in hospital, and when I was discharged out of hospital, I had to do speech therapy. I had occupational therapy. I also had to see a neurologist to do testing. And I saw a counselor and then later on a psychologist. So I had all these other tools that were good at the time for me because that's what I needed then. So I'll give you an example of how I used to speak. So now you can tell there's a lot of energy behind my voice and passion and all of this stuff. But before, when I was conscious out of the coma, I used to speak like this. Hello, my name is Myra. So that's how I used to speak. And it took me years and years of being more conscious of the words that I use, the energy behind it, the vocabulary I use, the linguistics, which is the languaging behind what I'm saying, and the intention. What is it that I want to communicate to another person? So there's so many levels that we don't realize are behind our communication. Some other tools I've used is exercise. So even just walking, because I was not medically clear to go to the gym, because before I was preparing for a bodybuilding competition and I think I was 60 kilos and I was leaner and I was building more muscle. And being in the induced coma for 11 days, I went from 60 kilos to 47 kilos. So when I looked in the mirror, it was very confronting to see this person that I didn't even recognize. So it was just a good way to work on my inner world and just really reflect on what I want in life. I did some sleep hypnosis. So my psychologist recorded sleep hypnosis for me. So then I could fall asleep, because obviously my brain was in overdrive, overthinking and just wanting to focus on just getting better. But what I didn't realize was I needed to go through all these little challenges and hop over these hurdles. And so for me, being a high achiever, Eric, we want to climb Mount Everest in one day, right?
Yeah.
Which we can't do. So it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, right?
Yeah.
That's what I had to learn along the way and learn how to slow down.
Wow, what a like you said, it's a blessing. It's a miracle for you to be here with us. I'm just overwhelmed, like the way you're speaking, like way you open up. Because the reason why I'm saying this, because even me, that was certain time, I think 2018, I was going through some rough challenges in my life. For me to open up to people was hard. So now I want to ask you, like you went through all this, you use all these tools, you went through your physio, your days, your psychology, everything you went through. How did you gather yourself to face the world? Now, this is a new you. People that used to know you, they know the old you. Now this is a new adventure. So how did you manage to face the world after this, after everything?
There's so many layers to this, and I'll do my best to break it down for yourself. And I fully acknowledge you sharing that you've had your own challenges, and also how it's hard to open up. I get that. And so in somebody's mind, and there's so many belief systems, there's thoughts, there's programs, there's so much stuff in there. There's even trauma on different parts of our timelines in our life. When we open up, there could be a fear behind it, fear of judgment, fear of success. There could be fear of rejection. There's all these things, these fears and these limiting beliefs that hold us back from being our authentic selves. So for me, and this is what people think, is that when they share parts of themselves or private information, it's like exposing themselves. They're like full naked. So that's how they feel, but it's not the truth. When you allow yourself to take a deep look at your internal world and share certain little things about yourself, is when you're actually freeing yourself from that prison that you put yourself in. So you're slowly breaking out of that cage that society, our parents, government, news, everything has put on us. But we put ourselves in that cage. So the thing is, with this journey on earth, we are born pure. Okay, we don't have any self-doubt. We're actually quite confident as babies. Hey, we get what we want, right? And we do. Even when, I'm sure you, like your family and your kids, they'll be in the shop and they'll grab something when they're baby and they'll be like, nah, that's mine. So that's that confidence. And it's not until they download into, I'll just say, the computer, download the programs or the virus, until they see life from a different lens, right? But ultimately, being born in this earth is a journey back home, because we are like in a game, right? So we are a character in a game, and we're also controlling ourselves with our controller. And so each time we go through a challenge or we level up, what happens is we're getting further and further. But what really is happening is we've forgotten who we are, and we need to learn all these new things and skills to build our character up and level up into the hero that they want to become. But really, the truth is that no one's broken. We're actually conditioned to feel not good enough, not worthy, or not good. Society has its way of focusing on making us feel not enough, focusing on certain things coming from a place of being at a deficit. So it's our job to level up as that character in the game and take that journey back home and peel back all the layers and the masks that we wear, because we've placed many masks on ourselves, but we need to just be who we truly are authentically. So I will leave you in the audience with this question. Who are you if you were to have no past and no future? Who are you today, right here, right now? Who is that person? And that's who you really are.
Wow.
Does that land for you?
Yeah, that's a big question.
So I want you to remember that, and I want you to journal on it. You don't need to share it with me, but that's who you are at your core.
I know the audience, people who are watching us now, they're gonna take notes. They're gonna follow this quote you just said. 100%, I'm sure they're gonna follow this. So now this brings me to the next question. So you just explained everything to us. So now I want to know, why and when did you decide, okay, now let me try to tell the world this is me? When did you decide about that?
So the time I decided to, this is me, I'm just going to show up and want to help others, is I had to have that realization first that, hey, this brain injury and this domestic violence I've experienced, this is not who I am. It does not define me. What it is tools on learnings on how to not do things, or what they're like warnings. And so I use this experience, or a number of experiences, so then it put me in a good space to support other people through similar challenges. So for me, the thought was, well, I need to be a voice for those ones who don't or haven't found their voice. I need to be that one who does this for the women and the men who've lost their lives due to domestic violence or family violence. So in my mind, I'm like, it's selfish If I don't share and speak my truth, I'm doing these amazing people who are stuck in these situations, I'm doing a disservice by not sharing. I can't just be selfish and keep it all to myself. It's not for me, it's for others. And that's what gets me into my passion and my purpose, is being more of service to others, okay? So, and being more impact driven. The money that I receive for supporting other people is just a reward for impacting others and supporting them. It's an exchange of energy, if that makes sense. So that is where I came from, that belief of I need to do this. I must do it. If I don't do it, then there's so many people who are looking up to me or inspired by me. And if I don't show up, then it's like, well, may as well just not even bother. So that's something that I needed to come to the realization of.
Well, I'm still going back here with looking. Like, it's a blessing to cross your path. It's a blessing to witness your story, to hear your journey. Because I know so many people out there, like you said, they're scared to open up. They want to come out. They want to share their journey. So now I want you to advise someone. I know right now I'm sitting here, you're sitting there. Someone is going through the same, but they have this little voice in their head. Is it okay for me to come out? Is it okay for me to say something? Can I still stay with this person? For you, you've been there, you went through everything. What advice would you give to that person now, thinking about the same thing, going through the same situation?
I guess with going back to what I said just before about not sharing my story, is that this is a book that I was in, Hear Her Roar, Successful Women Who've Experienced Domestic Abuse. And so what came up for me was a lot of fear. I was scared. I was experiencing a big internal dialogue saying it's the fear of success, the fear of judgment, fear of rejection. So I was scared to share my story. Why? Because I'd be like, people are going to judge me. They're not going to like my story and I can't tell and speak my truth. But that was the inner dialogue trying to tell me to get out of it, because your brain is it's a safety device. Our brain is so old and it's not a success device. So our brain will make up these stories and say, you're in danger, so get out of there, like self-sabotage yourself. So that's what's happening on a subconscious level. So in my mind, it took me a while to come to realizations that, hey, this relationship is not working. You have to weigh up the cons and the pros. So what's really good about this relationship? What's not so good? If the bad things outweigh the good, then obviously there's one sign there. The other thing is that you will find another partner who appreciates you and loves you and cares for you, but ultimately what you're seeking is safety. And if you don't feel safe in the relationship that you're in, then that's a cue to leave already. And be very careful about you gaslighting yourself. So this is where the inner dialogue will come in and go, hey, you know what? No, just stay. Oh, he loves you or she loves you. No, that's fine. They will change. That's that BS story and the inner dialogue trying to get you to stay, but you need to be strong and have the courage. What I suggest is a really amazing tool is get your pen and paper and write an escape plan, okay? Write it out, what you're going to do, how you're going to, like your finances, where you're going to live, list people you can stay with, or you maybe need to go to a shelter. Get all these ideas and a plan together first, okay? Because if you keep thinking it in your mind, it's not real. They're just thoughts. They're good ideas, but not until you put them on the paper. They're not physically real until you visually see them. And at the end of the day, ask yourself this question: what is it costing me staying in this relationship? So I'm going to list a couple just so you understand what it's costing you. It might not cost you financially. It may. It might cost you your sanity, your mental health. It might cost you your energy. You're feeling probably drained being in an abusive relationship. It could cost you physically. Maybe they're physical with you. And spiritual. Your spirit is probably hurting and your ancestors are looking down on you, or your loved ones who have passed on. They're probably looking at you and wanting to guide you to a safer pathway. So make sure you plan this, and it's not an escape. You're planning your future. Okay? So it's important to have these plans, like a contingency plan. If a fire breaks out, what are you going to do in a fire? You're going to, gather everything and everyone and etc. Okay, so you need to know what to do in case of emergency. Another thing is, if it's a financial thing, there are services you can reach out, especially I think it's Westpac and Commonwealth Bank. They actually assess you and can give you access to some emergency funding to get to a safe space. There are certain services where if you've been in a domestic violence or family violence situation, they can help fund and pay your rent and pay for your furniture. So please just make sure you know all these things. And once you hear what I'm saying to you, make sure you pass it on to other people. Don't just keep this information to yourself, because I can't do this on my own. I can't just educate people on my own. I need your help too, Eric. I need everyone's help so we can raise the awareness on this big, big issue. And it's not just happening in Aboriginal cultures, it's happening in everyone's culture. So please don't stay if you don't feel safe. Make sure you report it. There's so many steps. Go to a women's legal service, women's shelters, do your research about family and domestic violence, please.
They will. We will. It's a blessing. Like I keep saying this, it's a blessing, because me sitting here and listening to what you're saying, because the country we live now, people are facing this. We're losing women who's supposed to be good leaders in the future. We're losing men as well, put in a different situation because of domestic violence. So like you said, it's us that need to share this awareness. We need to embrace it. We need to talk to one another to come together and make a safer environment for everyone. So now I want to ask you this here. How does it make you feel, what you do impacting other people? How does it make you feel?
Well, firstly, I'm not doing this for myself, and I love helping people because it makes me feel happy and excited and passionate. And I know that myself, being such a high caliber person, is that I have the tools and the means to motivate somebody or get my point across, or to influence them and make them see the truth. So for me, I know that I can impact people because I've been doing this for many years now. And I just sit back, and when I hear feedback or I hear people say, wow, Myra, you're so inspirational, or thanks for saying this, or thanks for talking today, it's that positive feedback I get from others, like, hey, actually, I'm doing a good job. Because sometimes people can become stagnant and we can actually just not see the bigger picture. So it's important to see the bigger picture. So for me, my little motto is having one conversation at a time, changing one life at a time. My aim is, when I go out in public, is I want to at least speak to 3 to 5 people who I don't know, just random people. And you never know who's watching, who's listening, or who they know. So for me, as long as I light someone up in a way where maybe I can see in their body language that they're just not feeling happy, I'll be, oh, hey, how are you? Are you okay? And so I want to make sure that I can somehow give love, love and impact others and inspire them to take a shift or shift their mindset into something different. It just makes me feel amazing and grateful and thankful. And I just love helping others. And sometimes I need to pull back and go, hey, Myra, you love helping others, but you also need to know that at times there's a cost. And I'm not just talking about a financial cost. I'm talking about energetic, emotionally, and time. So time is one of your biggest valuable assets. So I have to be mindful to kind of pull back sometimes and not give too much, because there are certain individuals who will use us and abuse our kindness and our good heart. So I need to keep an eye out for these things as well. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. 100%. So now I want to ask you, yeah? I know someone is out there watching you, someone like they're watching us. So how can people reach to you? How can people get to know you?
The way that people can get to know me is do some research on myself on the internet. If you see me, don't be a stranger. Come up and go, oh, hey, Myra, I seen your whatever it was, or I heard you speak, or I heard you on the radio, or saw you on the news. Tell me, what it was that really landed for you. What was the thing that I said that impacted you or inspired you? Maybe I didn't inspire you. Maybe you don't like me because I'm so strong and direct about my truth. I don't know, but I welcome the discussion. I really love to understand people's thinking patterns and what's behind things. So feel free to connect with myself on social media. I'm on every single platform. Have a look, see if you enjoy what you see, or maybe you see videos on my YouTube, Myra Fordham Coaching YouTube, and yeah, that's how you'd get to know me, really. And if you ever want to schedule a time to have a chat, then I'm more than happy to, as long as it's like got a specific purpose. And yeah.
Thank you. Now, for sure, we're gonna have you now and then. We're gonna be having you here. So this discussion is gonna be going until we change the narrative. We're gonna change people's life. That's the aim of this whole podcast. So as for me, as for the team, we're going to have you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that, Eric. And I just hope that this has been quite valuable, even for yourself, but even to the audience. I hope that it's impacted you in some way or helped you to have that shift in your mind. Or definitely, yeah.
100%. So now, let me before we round up, let me ask you, what's next for you? What's next in the chapter? What's next for you?
That is an amazing question. So what I'll say is I'm starting my own podcast. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and I'm going to youth leadership programs in schools. Nationally is the goal, nationally in every state, and hopefully international as it progresses. What's next? I am sitting on the fence about writing my very own book. And I want this book to be a tool and a guide for other people, especially those who've experienced brain injury or head trauma. So I want it to be a guide for those survivors and the supporters of that person as well. So I want this to be a useful tool, and it's going to be one of a kind, and it's going to be an international bestseller. So that's something I'm really excited about. Yep. Very excited, and just focusing on my health and my fitness goals. So I'm really just pushing to become stronger and fitter and just the best version of myself. And obviously with my business, changing the business name, and I'm also switching into a consultancy business. So basically what's on the cards at the moment, and I'm sure I'll keep you informed anyway, Eric.
Thank you. We'll be waiting for that text, that call, that email. I'm going to be waiting. Before I let you go, because I normally ask my guests about this one thing, beyond the shift. For you, for your own shift, for everything you've been through, for you, in your own world, what's beyond the shift means to you?
Beyond the shift means to me is where you lose a part of yourself, a part of you dies, and then you rebirth and regain this new person who you are. So mindset shifts can be energetically shifts, can be spiritual shifts, can be financial shifts, can be shifts in your community. It depends on how you frame it and look at it. But having shifts is so important in life, especially energetically as well. People say to me, oh, wow, Myra, you're glowing. What are you doing? I'm just like, I'm just taking out the trash. I'm getting rid of all the old crap that I don't need. I'm experiencing ego death. So the death of the ego, the part that is addicted to negativity and tries to lead me astray. So that's what it means to me, Eric.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, I thank you. I appreciate you dropping by. So I know like people are going to be blessed. They're going to see the other side of them. They're going to be changed. Everything you just said now, it's what people need to hear. It's what, like for me, for my audience, because I know it's what people are facing every day in their lives. We're facing every day. But we thank God we have you. I appreciate you. I can't thank you enough, like for you dropping by, to give us your time. I know you live up the north, I live here, but still connected. So yeah, so like I said again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're gonna keep doing this. So be ready. I'm gonna send you the emails. Be ready.
Thank you, Eric, and I appreciate this opportunity. And I guess upon reflection, I can genuinely say that it was divine timing, and I'm not just like other people where they might be a bit snotty or they might have a big ego or they just will be like, no, I can't do this. Oh, I'm so busy. I actually make the time. This is my quote. You make the time you have time for. Okay. So you have to make time for the things that matter. Time is an illusion as well. So I just thought I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And I'm really grateful for this connection and even just an opportunity. Like I said, changing lives one conversation at a time. So I'm certain this will change many lives. So I'm already going to change hundreds of lives just from this interview alone. And I'm sure I've given you some epiphanies and aha moments, if you will. So I'm really grateful, and I'm looking forward to our next talk as well. And I'd love to stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you. No worries. Thank you. Well, until next time, guys, it's been a blessing to have you guys here. So like always, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on that bell so whenever I upload. Until next time, I'm Eric. This is Beyond the Shift. Let's Hodge. Thank you.